Tantor Audio, a division of Recorded Books, presents The School Choice Roadmap: 7 Steps to Finding the Right School for Your Child, by Andrew Campanella. Narrated by Lofbomm. Introduction. In January 2013, I was walking into an education event in Kansas City, Missouri. I had recently started working in a new job, one that I will tell you about shortly, and I was scheduled to speak at this event about the importance of school choice. But before I could walk through the door, a woman and her young son recognized and stopped me. What they told me next changed my perspective on K-12 education. The mother told me that she and her son were attending the event because she had recently searched for and found a different school for him. She was looking forward to sharing her experiences with other parents at the event. She was ecstatic that her son was finally succeeding in school. As inspired as I was by her remarks, it was what her son said that I will never forget. "I finally feel like I belong somewhere," he told me, referring to his new school. "I don't feel like there's something wrong with me anymore. I'm happy now." There was something about the way that 8-year-old said the words, "I don't feel like there's something wrong with me anymore," that stopped me in my tracks. I asked the boy's mother to tell me more of their story. She shared that their family had moved to a specific neighborhood, in part because they had heard that the community had a great elementary school. But once her son enrolled in 2nd grade at that school, he was miserable. As a result, his grades plummeted, and his mother became distraught. The boy was in a school that experts might define as high-performing or top-rated. But those accolades meant absolutely nothing to his mother once she realized that her son was struggling. When she enrolled him in another public school, however, everything changed. His outlook brightened, his grades improved, and, as he told me, he felt like he belonged at his new school. He was finally happy. I had worked in education policy since 2004, and I had talked with hundreds of parents about their experiences with their children's schools. But there was something about the discussion with this mother and son that felt completely different. For years, I had asked parents questions about school choice, and they had answered my questions. But what people tell you depends on what you ask them. The mother in Kansas City initiated the conversation. She and her son, not I, set the parameters of the discussion, starting that discussion by mentioning things that I might never have asked about: happiness and the feeling of belonging. To them, school choice was not about finding a school that met a specific set of criteria that was defined by faraway experts. It was about one mom searching for and choosing a learning environment where her individual son could develop the confidence, joy, and feeling of belonging that empowered him to learn and succeed. The same is true for most families. Here is just one example. Most parents care about a school's curricula and aggregate test scores, but what they are actually looking for in a school or learning environment for their child is far more personal and complex than those factors alone. After my conversation with that amazing mom and her equally amazing son in Kansas City, I started changing the way I talk about education. Frankly, I also stopped doing so much talking. Instead, I asked parents to simply tell me their stories. Then I listened as families shared their hopes, dreams, and fears with me. Absolutely incredible stories I never would have heard if I had asked specific questions. Using the same open-minded approach, I also asked school leaders and teachers to tell me their stories too. What I discovered about families and their experiences, and about the diversity and variety in K-12 education across our country, has inspired me. In the years since, I have relied on that inspiration. I have used it as best I can to help families navigate the process of choosing schools and learning environments that meet the unique needs of their children. Thankfully, I have a solid platform to provide ideas and suggestions to parents who find this advice useful. But it is a platform that I only reluctantly embraced just 2 years before meeting that mother and son in Kansas City. My own fear of failing. In the spring of 2011, I sat down for lunch in Phoenix, Arizona with my friend and mentor, Lisa Graham Keegan. I wanted Lisa's advice on a potential career change. It was an opportunity I was eager to pursue, but I was worried that I would fail. Lisa is one of the most inspirational and effective leaders I have ever met. As an Arizona state legislator and the state superintendent of public instruction, Lisa helped enact some of the first laws that created public charter schools. She has also worked to expand access to public and private schools for children across the country. Lisa views her work and life through a lens of unbridled optimism and positivity. I trust Lisa's advice, and the decision I was considering that spring day in Phoenix was important to me. For 7 years, I had worked in senior-level positions at non-profit organizations focusing on K-12 education. In my first education job, I helped recruit teachers for public school districts. In my second position, I worked to promote and expand scholarship programs for children from low-income families. The Gleason Family Foundation, a charitable organization, had recently invited me to take a new, full-time position, helping to lead an education effort from the ground up. This effort, called National School Choice Week, would work with all types of schools and education groups to inform parents about the school choices available for their families. Tracy Gleason, the Gleason Family Foundation's president, helped create National School Choice Week because she felt that the national discussion about school choice was unnecessarily confusing to families, as it was often filled with jargon, acronyms, and buzzwords. She wanted to provide more opportunities for moms and dads to discover how school choice could benefit their children and their communities. Tracy also recognized the need for a more inclusive approach to raising awareness about K-12 education, one that celebrated all types of schools and learning environments. She knew that even among the most effective national education organizations, most focused on promoting only one or two different types of schools. There were no national organizations that raised equal awareness of all schools and learning environments, from traditional public schools to public charter schools, public magnet schools, online public schools, private schools, and homeschooling. National School Choice Week would fill that void and adopt a different and more user-friendly approach, including traditional marketing and public relations efforts to teach moms and dads in communities across the country. It would also feature positive, local, and informational school choice events that would be planned independently by schools, homeschool groups, organizations, and individuals. To make things more exciting and impactful, all of these efforts would take place during one big, fun week in January, and the National School Choice Week team would work year-round to help bring that week to life in a major way. At the time of my lunch with Lisa, the first ever National School Choice Week had just taken place. The week had been a success, with 150 events and activities having occurred across the country. Taking a full-time job with National School Choice Week sounded exciting, but I was worried. My new role would not just require me to sustain the excitement of that first year. It would also demand significant expansion of National School Choice Week, so that the effort could inspire as many families as possible. As I told Lisa that warm day, I had a serious case of cold feet. What if this fails? I worried aloud. What if I take a year-round job running an organization that focuses on 1 week of the year and I am unable to grow or expand it? Lisa's response convinced me to think about things differently. Yes, it could fail, she said. But part of trying something new is to work as hard as you can to make it succeed. And if you do it right, it could be wildly successful and help a lot of people. I had been obsessing over the risks and the downside. Lisa helped me to see the opportunities and the upside. I took the job. Growth, discovery, and the need for a roadmap. In the years that followed, the National School Choice Week team worked to encourage schools, homeschool groups, organizations, and individuals to get involved and raise awareness about school choice in their own communities. Today, National School Choice Week is America's largest school choice public awareness effort and the world's largest annual series of education-related events. More parents search for school choice on Google during National School Choice Week than during any other week of the year. In January 2019 alone, our participants planned more than 40,000 school choice events and activities. The growth of National School Choice Week is inspirational because it has shined a positive spotlight on the people who matter the most in education. Students, their parents, and the amazing people who dedicate their lives to teaching children and running schools. And I get to meet so many of them. Every year, I talk with hundreds of families, like the conversation I had with the mother and son in Kansas City, Many parents are excited to tell me that after searching for and finding the right school or learning environment for their child, their sons or daughters are not only learning, but happy and successful. Parents who actively choose schools or learning environments for their children are almost universally glad that they searched for and found the right educational fit. And almost as often, parents tell me that they wish they had started the school search process earlier. But some parents are nervous about pursuing the process, worried about asking the wrong questions, or simply afraid of failing. Surprisingly, there are very few resources that provide tactical, practical advice for parents as they go through the process of selecting a school or learning environment for their child. In some areas, parent navigator organizations, like Families Empowered in Texas, work one-on-one with parents at no cost to help them pursue the school search process. However, there are only about a dozen of these organizations across the country. Moms and dads frequently ask me for a school choice roadmap, one that they can use to better understand the similarities and differences between the 6 main types of schools: traditional public schools, public charter schools, public magnet schools, online public schools, private schools, and homeschooling. They also want a guide that will help them navigate the school search process so they can find a school or learning environment that meets their child's needs and their family's goals. This book puts your child and your family's needs first. I wrote this book to serve as the roadmap that so many parents told me they wanted. This book provides you with basic facts about the different types of schools that may be available for your child. Then, it offers you a step-by-step approach to finding a school or learning environment that truly meets your child's needs. An approach that lets your expertise about your child serve as your guide. Through it all, I have tried not to use any education jargon, so that this book is actually, hopefully, understandable. The advice in this book is intended to be helpful whether your child is just starting kindergarten or whether he or she is in elementary, middle, or high school. This book is practical, not theoretical. It is designed for parents who are about to enroll their child in school for the first time, parents who recently moved and need to find a new school for their child, parents who want their child to switch schools and find a better environment. In Part 1, we will look at the school search process from a broad, goal-oriented perspective. We will talk about why choosing a school or learning environment can be helpful for your child's future. We will discuss how you, as a parent, are far more qualified to make decisions for your child's education than anyone else. I also provide information about the 6 different types of schools and learning environments. This will give you basic facts and general context before you start pursuing your school search. Part 2 focuses on the 7 steps to choosing a school or learning environment for your child. These steps will help you navigate the school search process by harnessing the power of your own intuition and the expertise you have as your child's greatest advocate. You will find several self-assessments, worksheets, and exercises in this section. These will help you to evaluate your own needs, your child's needs, and the different schools and learning environments that you are considering. Part 2 also provides answers to frequently asked questions about school choice. In writing this book, I relied on the advice, suggestions, and experiences of many of the same parents who asked me to write this book. These parents shared with me the lessons they had learned, the mistakes they had made, and the questions they wished they had asked during their own school searches, so that I could provide a balanced, thoughtful school choice roadmap for other families. Throughout this book, you will hear from these parents. You will also have the opportunity to hear some profiles of schools that I find particularly inspirational. There are a few things this book will not do. First, this book is not political. I am not going to discuss the arguments for or against the different types of schools or make judgments about the quality of schools in specific areas. Each state has its own policies, and the availability of different types of schools varies in each city, county, and town. And just as every state and community has its own policies, your family has its own priorities. You know your child better than anyone else on earth, and you know your community better than I do. This is also not a medical book, as I am not a doctor. Nothing in this book is designed to diagnose or treat any specific conditions that your child may have. Finally, you will not get to the end of this book and find that I am subtly trying to prescribe a specific path for your child. I am not going to encourage you to choose one type of school over another. As you listen, you will likely notice that I frequently refer not only to schools, but also to learning environments. I use these terms interchangeably because I encourage you to consider all of your options, from schools with fixed locations to online schooling and homeschooling. I am also not going to encourage you to follow the same path that I did. In fact, I am not a parent. One of the reasons why some parents shared their stories with me for this book is because they knew I could not judge them against or compare their choices to the ones I made for my own non-existent kids. So, this book is not political, medical, or prescriptive. It is about you, your children, and the schools or learning environments that you will select for them. In the end, I hope you will feel comfortable navigating the school search process. I hope you will feel empowered. I hope you will take the advice that Lisa gave me and not let the fear of failing prevent you from trying something new and exciting. Instead, work toward success. The result might just change your life, and most importantly, your child's life, for the better. Part 1. An overview of school choice and the types of schools available. Chapter 1. Choice is powerful, and you are the expert. We choose almost everything in our lives, and our lives are often defined by the choices we make. Some of the choices we make are monumental, like where to live, who to marry, and where to work. These choices can impact the totality of our lives. Many of our other choices are relatively minor, like what to eat for breakfast, what to watch on television, and how to spend our free time. These choices impact our daily lives. By noon each day, we have already made dozens of decisions, some big and some small. Some of us make quick decisions. Some of us take our time. Regardless, we are constantly deciding what we like best, what interests us most, and what we believe is right for ourselves and our families. As Americans, we know that having choices gives us more chances to build productive lives while aspiring to even greater success and happiness. Having and making choices is part of what freedom, liberty, and self-determination is all about, right? But even in a society that was founded on the concept of individual choice, the notion of choosing schools still feels relatively new. For some families, it is exciting. For others, it feels daunting. And for a lot of parents, it's both. That is because in many states, school choice options are indeed new. In the past, parents had fewer options for their children's education. They could send their kids to the traditional public school within their neighborhood or geographic zone. Or they could opt to homeschool their children or pay private school tuition. For parents with no extra time or no money to spare, their options were severely limited. Today, school choice is a reality for a record number of families in the U.S. Many families have more choices for their children's K-12 education than at any other time in history. That is because states and school districts are beginning to embrace a new approach to education, one in which parents have more freedom to customize their children's educational experiences. For example, states are making it easier for parents to send their children to traditional public schools outside of their zones or districts. Most states are also empowering educators and community leaders to create unique public charter schools, public magnet schools, and online public schools, all of which are tuition-free. For families who want to choose private or religious education for their children, there are now more private and state-sponsored scholarship opportunities than ever before. For homeschooling families, there are more instructional resources and support networks available, along with policies allowing homeschoolers to participate in activities and sports at local public sector schools. We will get to descriptions of all of those terms and types of schools soon. School choice is about your child and your family. The expansion of school choice options has meant that more parents are checking out the different schools and learning environments available for their children. In fact, a record number of moms and dads in the U.S., approximately 1/3 of parents with school-aged children, are actively choosing schools. School choice is not about specific policies or even specific types of schools, though. It is about the timeless value of making choices. Most importantly, it is about your child. School choice means making the decision to pair your child with a school or learning environment that best reflects his or her personality, interests, strengths, challenges, happiness, and creativity. As you start the process of choosing a school or learning environment for your child, think about how you make other big choices in your own life. Think about how you would buy a car or find a house or apartment. Usually, you identify what you need. Then you figure out how you can meet that need in a way that will benefit you the most. This is what you want. After that, you look at all of the options available. You narrow down those options, you weigh the pros and cons, you ask other people for their advice, and you make the best decision possible. School choice is arguably more important than many of the other choices you make, but the process of choosing is the same. Your child needs a quality education delivered in an environment where he or she will be successful. You want your child to learn in an environment that is best designed to meet his or her needs. There are hopefully lots of options, different schools and learning environments that you can consider so that you can find the right fit. You will narrow your choices down, talk to other people, ask lots of questions, and make a decision. I view a good education as a personal demand for freedom. A person's education level is often an indication of how successful they will be in society. Thus, having the ability to choose my child's education means I can make the best choices that will help set him up for a free and successful life. Shawnette, a mother from Aiken, South Carolina. The importance of choosing your child's education. But why is school choice so important? And how much will your child really benefit if you pursue this process? In short, school choice can give your child a better chance at success and happiness. Choosing a school or learning environment for your son or daughter can lead to higher levels of learning and increased high school graduation rates. Higher graduation rates mean that students earn more money over their lifetimes, are less likely to be incarcerated, and live longer. Parents who actively choose schools or learning environments for their children are more satisfied with their children's education too. According to a study by the Institute of Education Sciences, parents who actively chose schools for their children expressed higher levels of satisfaction with the teachers in their child's school, the academic standards at the school's approach to parental involvement, and the school's order and discipline than parents who did not choose or had no choices. In a way, that all makes sense. After all, one size doesn't fit all. Just think about your child and the other kids in your community. You will likely identify some similarities. But does your child have the exact same interests as the other children? Does your child learn in the exact same way? Probably not. Maybe your child acquires knowledge and information more quickly from technology than from books. Perhaps your child feels most comfortable when he or she is in a small group setting rather than a large group. Maybe your child has a really strong interest in science or writing but struggles with math. Or maybe your child has an interest that no other children in your community share. That's okay. In fact, all of these distinctions and differences are part of what makes your son or daughter unique and cool in his or her own right. This uniqueness also helps explain why students respond in different ways to specific instructional methods and settings. What might be a perfect school for one student might not be a good fit for a child who lives right next door. Actively choosing a school or learning environment for your child allows you to select an education setting that best meets your child's unique interests. That decision can mean the difference between a child whose personality, quirks, talents, or struggles define him or her as not fitting in at school, and a scenario in which those exact same traits fuel his or her momentum and development. Who among us doesn't want to fit in, feel valued, and be respected? Kids are no different. Of course, a child's education does not take place in a vacuum. School choice is not a magic wand. There are many things that can impact a child's development, from housing to nutrition to the unique issues that all families face. But a quality education, one that is tailored for your child's needs, can go a very long way. Parents who actively chose schools or learning environments for their children rarely, if ever, regret pursuing the process. Certainly, a few parents may wish they had made different choices. But no moms or dads want fewer options. Instead, they tell me that the process of evaluating their child's needs and considering the schooling options available to them was absolutely worth it. In fact, Most parents say they wish they had discovered school choice sooner. Not all children come with the same personalities, physical abilities, academic abilities, or talents. Being able to provide a child with the best educational option for his or her individual needs and abilities is what makes school choice in America so important. Isabel, a mother from Berkeley, Illinois. Your choice can benefit your community. School choice does not just help individual students. It also helps schools and communities. When people talk about school choice, they occasionally talk about schools competing for students. Some people think that competition in education sounds too cutthroat, or that this competition is unhealthy for communities. In reality, school choice is more complementary than competitive, because education is not a zero-sum game. Just as a community might have a variety of parks with different features and amenities to serve the unique recreational needs of its residents, communities can also have a variety of schools that meet the different and unique learning needs of its individual students. All types of schools can thrive in a community, creating a more diverse and interesting education climate, one in which more children are likely to succeed in school and thus are more likely to contribute positively to their communities when they grow up. School choice encourages schools to continue enhancing the services they provide to students and families. Your choice of a school or learning environment for your child provides important information to school leaders and community leaders. That information should challenge these leaders to expand schools that parents and students find popular and effective, and to improve schools that may not be meeting the needs of enough students. That type of thinking helps everybody. School leaders say that having different types of schools in a community also promotes greater information sharing between schools. A principal of a traditional public school recently told me that if parents find that their children are unhappy at his school, he works to address the challenges. But if his school is simply not a good fit for a particular child, he is relieved to have a list of other good schools and learning environments so that the parents of that child can find a better fit. Education is not only about science, math, and the core subjects. It's about being a humanitarian and coming out of your box. It's about how to relate to the society that you're living in by making a change and to give 10 times more than you are taking. It is about being able to appreciate life and the opportunities in life. Elizabeth Zidane, CEO and founder, Bright Hope Academy Center, New York, New York. Never forget that you are the expert. School choice truly changes lives. But throughout the process of evaluating your school choice options, you may encounter some confusion and frustration. When and if you do, please remember that education can be confusing to everyone. In fact, my introduction to the world of education policy started out with a lot of confusion. The year was 2004. One day, as I was scrolling through job postings on the internet, I came across a position at an organization that helped recruit teachers for public school districts. I was far from an education policy expert. My only professional experience in education was volunteering in an after-school YMCA program that helped students learn more about civics and government. Even so, I applied for the teacher recruitment job. One of the interviewers sensed that my knowledge was lacking. "Tell me what you know about education policy," she said. I spoke from the heart about the students I met at the YMCA program and their struggles with literacy. I told the interview panel that, while I was not an expert on education, I cared about the issue and had the capacity to learn. I got the job not because I pretended that I knew more than I did, but because I was honest about what I did not know. And I showed that, above all, I cared about the organization's goals. It must have worked because I was offered the job, accepted it, and immediately started learning. Our organization recruited talented professionals to change careers and become public school teachers. We tried to get doctors to become science teachers, bankers to become math teachers, and journalists to become English teachers. As we started reaching out to people, we quickly realized that even the most enthusiastic prospective teachers got frustrated by the jargon and complexity surrounding education. If you are nervous about starting the school search process, or if you worry that there is too much that you do not know, do not fear. You have a secret weapon in your information arsenal: the fact that you know your child better than anyone else on this planet. As a parent, you understand your child's interests, potential, strengths, and weaknesses better than anyone. Nobody cares more about your child than you do. Nobody has a greater stake in your child's happiness and...
Sample complete. Ready to continue?